Good morning, students. Today, I, Dr. Seema Kapoor, will discuss the topic sales of market. It is an important topic of the classical theory of employment. In macroeconomics, we have two important theories. One is classical theory of employment and second is Keynes theory of employment. Classical theory pertains the time period before World War and Keynesian theory is post-World War phenomenon theory. In classical theory, the main component on which the theory is based, that is the Say's law of market. Say's law of market, it is given by J.B. Say, an eminent economist, and according to him, supply, an important line or important thought of the or idea of the J.B. Say was supply creates its own demand. Supply means production, demand means consumption. That means this 5 words line, it has a deep meaning, it has deep implication. That means supply creates own demand means aggregate demand will always be equal to aggregate supply. Now we can explain it with the help of one example. Now let's suppose one car is produced in the economy and the price of that and the cost of that car or price of that car comes out to be, now let's suppose 3 lakh rupees. So that means when in the economy, 3 lakh production, word 3 lakh is supplied in the economy, it means when the production process, it continues, when it is in the progress, side by side, there is monetary flow also. That means income will be generated in the economy worth 3 lakh rupees. So according to Say's law, when 3 lakh production worth 3 lakh is there and income generation worth 3 lakh is there, that means aggregate demand will always be equal to aggregate supply. This law is based upon some assumptions. And important assumptions are that in the economy, price mechanism operates. There is free enterprise system based upon price mechanism. That means there is complete role of demand force and supply force in the system, economic system. The extent of the market is unlimited. That means whatever goods will be produced, they will be consumed. That means when there are, or in other words, we can say if there is unlimited supply of labor and capital, then there will be unlimited level of production and the extent of the market will be unlimited. Government has an important role, that is to maintain law and order in the economy, and the government does not interfere in the business matter. That means the law is based upon laissez-faire policy. Say's law, it is based upon market mechanism. That means we say demand forces and supply forces, they play an important role. And for these forces to play the complete role, there is another assumption of flexibility of interest rate, wages, and prices. Interest rate, that means the demand for capital and supply of capital, it will be adjusted with the help of changes in the interest rate. Wages, which is price of the labor. Services, that means labor demand and labor supply will be equated with the help of changes in wages and prices of goods and services. That means the law is based upon complete flexibility of interest rate, wages, and prices. Perfect competition, it is assumed in the system. Money has different roles to play in the economy, but the law is based upon only one function of the money, that is, it plays the role of medium of exchange, and other roles of money, they are ignored in the system. The law assumes that no hoardings are there. It is based upon long period and the production will be there as per consumer preference. So based upon these important assumptions, then Say's law is that supply creates own demand, and that means aggregate demand will be equal to aggregate supply in long run. This law is applicable in both the economies, barter economy and monetary economy. In barter economy, we know barter economy means when goods are exchanged for goods. Let us suppose, now let us explain it with the help of an example. Now let's suppose A person produces X commodity, B person produces Y commodity, C person produces Z commodity. So in the barter economy, this law will be applied when all consumers or all producers, because producer is consumer also, that means they are buyer of each other's products. So that means whatever is produced will be consumed in the economy by different consumers. Next is monetary economy. Monetary economy means when goods are exchanged for money. Now let's explain it with the help of again one example. Now let's suppose there is production of goods and services in the economy worth 100 crores. When production of 100 crore goods and services is there, that means there will be supply of the goods and services worth 100 crores. And when production process continues, there is generation of income also. So that means there will be income generation worth 100 crores. And when income is there, there is demand for 100 crores goods and services. So that means when there is demand, there will be production. So in this way, aggregate demand will be equal to aggregate supply under monetary economy. Now, JP says, he also explains that now let's suppose some consumers or some people in the economy, they have a tendency to save, and because there is saving also. So when saving is there, in that scenario, aggregate demand will fall short of aggregate supply. So to correct this disequilibrium, again, JP has a solution. He says that when there is mismatch between demand and supply, then in that scenario, the investment will be there and the savings will be converted to investment. In this way, again, aggregate demand will become equal to aggregate supply. So that means Say's law applies both in barter economy and monetary economy. Modern statement of the law, it is given by Oscar and Pigou. And according to Pigou, there cannot be any general unemployment in the labor market. That means unemployment. Unemployment means when there is more supply of labor in comparison to demand for labor. And if there is unemployment, then supply of labor, which is more than demand, in that scenario, market wage rate will fall, because in that way, labor will become cheap and there will be more demand for labor. And in this way, demand for labor will matches the supply. And again, equilibrium will be restored in the economy. What are the important implications? Now, important aspect of the Say's law. One of the most important implication of the law is that general overproduction and general unemployment is impossible. Overproduction means when supply of the goods is more than demand for the goods. That is overproduction. When there is more supply of the goods in comparison to demand for the goods, in that scenario, the law suggests that in this scenario, the producer will first of all divert the resources to some more profitable ventures. In this way, supply will be controlled. And in second way also, when there is more supply of the goods, then the price, because goods being surplus, the price of the goods will fall, and again, the demand will increase and it will match the supply of the goods. And in this way, in the long run, aggregate supply will become equal to aggregate demand. But according to Say, in the short period, it is possible that general overproduction is possible, or in one sector of the economy, the overproduction is possible, which is called partial overproduction. So that means partial overproduction is possible, but general means which is applicable to the whole economy. So that means general overproduction is not possible. When general overproduction is not possible, in the similar way, according to Say's law, general unemployment is also impossible. Unemployment means when supply of labor is more than demand for labor. In this way, when supply is more than demand for labor, Say suggests that to correct this disequilibrium, wages are flexible. That means wage rate will fall. And when wage rate will fall, labor will become cheaper and there will be more demand for labor from the producer side. In this way, in the long run, with the due to flexibility of wages, the demand for labor, it will become equal to the supply of labor, and unemployment problem will be corrected with the help of price mechanism. But again, in one sector of the economy, it is possible that unemployment exists. In other words, we can say general unemployment is impossible, but partial unemployment is possible. And this is possible with the built-in flexibility of the economy, or which is called the automatic adjustment in the economy. That means whatever is produced, that will be consumed. Another important implication of the system is there is flexibility in the rate of interest, which brings about equality between savings and investment. Another important implication is, as we have assumed, that government does not interfere in the economic system. That means government does not participate in the economic system and it maintains only law and order position in the economy. That means there is laissez-faire policy. So that means government should, as far as possible, ensure a free market and there should be absolutely no regulation of wage rate. Another important implication that money acts as a veil. That means it has no independent role to play and it is only used as a medium of exchange to facilitate the transactions. Lastly, but not the least, another important assumption is that there is possibility of unlimited growth of output and capital. It is based on the assumption of supply of labor and capital being, it is unlimited. When there is unlimited supply of labor and capital, it will lead to unlimited growth of output and capital. In this way, Say's law rules out any trade cycle in the economy. And the trade cycle concept, it was given by Keynes after the World War. These are the important implications of Say's law. Now, next is criticism. Now, Say's law was tested in the World War scenario, in the post-World War scenario, when the world economies, they were all war-shattered economies. And then Say's law's implications, the solution of the Say's law, it was applied, and it was then realized that whatever is explained, it does not exist. It didn't exist in the reality. And the self-adjustment mechanism on which Say's law is based, it was not found. So first of all, Keynes criticized Say's law that self-adjustment is not possible. That means government free market mechanism does not exist. The automatic forces of demand and supply, they are unable to correct the disequilibrium in the economy. That means government has to play an important role as an economic agent. Money is not neutral. Money is not only used as a medium of exchange only. It serves other purposes. And according to Keynes, money has save value also. It serves as, it has saving, it's act as a saving potential. Overproduction is possible in the economy because according to Keynes, in the economy, there are two categories of people, one who spends and another section of the people who saves. And there is, it is not possible that ideas of the two sections of the people matches and savings become equal to investment. That means overproduction. That means it is not possible that in long run, it is always that equality exists or equilibrium exists. In other words, aggregate demand is always equal to aggregate supply. Because aggregate demand has two components, that is consumption and investment. And it is not possible that people who saves, they convert all their savings into investment. In this way, there is possibility that aggregate demand may be less than aggregate supply. In other words, aggregate overproduction is possible. Another criticism given by Keynes of the Say's law is underemployment situation. According to Say's law, there is always equilibrium in the economy, and that equilibrium is always at the full employment, and there is always, the demand for labor is always equal to supply of labor. But according to Keynes, this scenario, again, it is not sure. According to Keynes, there are three possibilities. Equilibrium will be there, but that equilibrium will maybe at full employment, it may be at underemployment, or it may be at overemployment. In addition to it, according to Keynes, the flexibility of wage rate is not a solution for the unemployment problem in the economy, because according to him, when there is unemployment, when supply of labor is more than the demand for labor, according to Say's law, wages will fall. But according to Keynes, if there is fall in the wages, then it will have two-side impact. It will have two impacts. One impact is, no doubt, the cost of the production will be less for the producer, but on the another side, the wages, which is income of the laborers, that means when wages are reduced, income of the laborer will be reduced. And in this way, when income of the labor reduces, Keynes says, then there will be less demand for the goods. And when there is less demand for the goods, then Keynes says, then it is possible that there is less demand, and as a result of less demand, there will be less production, and as a result, producer has to cut down the production scale. In other words, wage rate reduction, which was projected as a solution for the unemployment, according to Keynes, it will lead to, or it will worsen the situation of unemployment. That means the remedy will itself lead to the bad situation of unemployment in economy. So ultimately, there will be, that means price mechanism or market mechanism, it will not operate. And ultimately, state has to interfere in the economic activity to correct the disequilibrium in the form of economic policy, or in the form of monetary policy or fiscal policy. Some rules will be made to correct the disequilibrium. Another criticism given by Keynes is their equality between saving and investment. It is not possible through the flexibility of rate of interest, but it may be possible through changes in income. Wage cut is not a solution for unemployment. Rather, wage cut will lead to the worsening of the situation of unemployment. And demand creates its own supply. That means when there is demand, there will be production. So these are so that means the basic concept on which Say's law is based, that supply creates its own demand, that was criticized by Keynes, and that means the foundation of classical theory. It was criticized by Keynes and the post-Keynesian economists. Thank you.